Hi, today I'm looking at all of the lead guitar from Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. So it's Mark Knopfler's playing, it's his song. Brilliant example of his amazing lead guitar playing. All through the song he's playing lead, all the verses have got lots of fills in. I'm going to look at everything in terms of lead. And there's several little solo sequences. So I'm going to start off with the intro. Now it's in the key of G sharp minor, so a lot of the song will be based in this kind of position where you'd expect it to be for that key, and the intro is based in this position. Okay, so we start off with the 6th fret on the 5th string, and we slide into that note like this, and then play 6 on the next string on the 4th string, the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, back to the 6 on the 4th string. So that was, and then you repeat the last 3 notes: the 6 on the 4th string, 3 on the 3rd string, 6 on the 4th. And then we play a 3 on the 3rd string. Whilst it's ringing, you slide to a 4, then slide to a 6, all with one pick. Then play the 4 again, play the 3 again. And then come down to the 4th string, 6, 4, 6. So that's, and then we've got a 4 on the 3rd string, 4 on the 2nd string. The way to do that, rather than hop across like this, just roll your finger down like that, and then play a 6 on the 3rd. So those last 2 phrases were. Now the next part, this is something that's in this song a lot. Mark Knopfler does this and used to do it a lot, and he does it all the way through this song. And it's a volume swell, sometimes called violining, where you play a note with the volume down and you turn the volume up so that the note kind of appears out of nowhere. Like if I play a note on here with the volume down, and that's violining. Now he uses a pedal, which is much easier. My volume pedal I discovered today is broken, so for the purpose of this lesson, I'm just going to use my volume control on my guitar. So I pick the note with the volume down and then bring the volume up. It's a bit harder than using a pedal, but anyway, it's a way you can do it. So the next note he plays starts with a volume swell, and it's a 6 on the 3rd string, but as soon as you play it, you've got to bend it up to an 8 like this. So the note kind of appears out of nowhere. And then same string, 3rd string, 6, 4, 3. 4th string, 6. 4th string, 4, hammer on to 6. 3rd string, 3, 4th string, 6. Now you'll notice throughout this whole song, but in particular in the intro, there's lots of this note. That's because that's the G sharp, that's the root note of the key. The key of the song is G sharp minor. So there's going to be a lot of G sharps in it. Then there's another volume swell. You play the 3rd string, 4th fret, and then slide it back to a 3. And then just play a 6 on the 5th string and 2 6s on the 4th string. So I'm just going to play all of that in time, but slower than the original song. So in time with itself, but slowed down. Okay, next we've got the first verse, and throughout this song, as well as the little solo sections, of which there's several, in the verses he's playing little fills throughout, really, and that's his style. You know, he sings a bit, plays a bit, sings a bit, plays a bit. So I'm looking at all the little phrases in the verses as well. So this is verse 1. So the first fill, these will sound a bit weird out of context without the vocal being there, but if you know the song well, you'll recognise them. So the first note's a 6 on the 3rd string, and we bend it up to an 8. This is with the volume swell like this. But this time, after the notes hit the 8, or the sound of the 8, you then let it down, so that's a release, so it comes back to the 6. Pull off to a 4, and then hammer on to a 6 again. So really slowly, that's this. He does it more this sort of speed. And the second phrase, another volume swell into the 4 on the 2nd string, and once that's reached full volume, you slide to 5 and then slide again to 7 like this. So you only pick the string once. Probably recognise that bit. There's some lovely phrases in this. I mean, that kind of thing features quite a lot, and it's so nice. Okay, then the next one is 3rd string. We play an 8, pull off to a 6, then play the 6 and hammer onto the 8. It's quite simple. So it's... And then we've got another volume swell into a 4 on the 3rd string, a B. And you just basically do that twice, like this. Now at this stage I should point out that some of these are really quiet. That's an example of one that you can barely hear it on the song, but it is just there. It's just like an effect. He uses this volume swell thing. It's a brilliant effect, and it almost sounds like another keyboard or something. And then the next phrase, just 2 normal notes. We've got a 4 on the 2nd string, 3 on the 3rd, like this. There's a little bit of a pause. And then the next one is something that it doesn't note for note repeat in the song, but it nearly does. So you hear this kind of phrase several times. And what you've got to do is think of an E chord, well, I think this helps. That's an E chord. That's a C shape E chord. Now you might not be familiar with that chord, or you may. Imagine that's a capo there, and then you're putting a C chord here. It's actually an E, and that's the shape or the chord that he's thinking of when he's playing this little fill. So what we're doing is playing the 4 on the 3rd string, quite faint this note, and then add the 6 on the 4th string, pick that, add the 5 on the 2nd string, and pick both of those strings, 2nd and 3rd. So it's like this. And whilst that's ringing, you then pull off the 2nd finger to a 4 on the 2nd string, so your 1st finger has to flatten a little bit, and then play a 6 on the 3rd string. I'll just demonstrate that slowly, that whole phrase. It follows the lyrics, Brothers in Arms. That's the end of the first verse. So I'm just going to do what I did with the intro. I'm going to play that whole sequence relatively in time, but slower than the original song. Right, so then we come to the next sort of little lead section, really, instrumental section. There's a lot of these. I suppose you could call it a bridge or like a mini solo. So it starts off 3rd string 4, you pick that note, slide to 3, slide to 4, slide to 6, like this. So it's all with one pick. And then same string, play 4, then 3, then the 4th string, 6, 4, 6, 6. I'll just put it all together. And then we've got another volume swell on a 6 on the 3rd string, and once that's reached its full volume, you pull off to the 4, same string, play 3, 6, 4, 3, and this. And then play a 6, 4, 6 on the 4th string. So it's a little phrase. And then just to finish off, we play 3rd string 4, 2nd string 4, 3rd string 6, and then a volume swell on the 2nd string 4th. So that's. So I'll put that whole thing together slowly, just so you can hear how it all fits. Okay, then we're into verse 2. Just like verse 1, it's a series of little fills. Really perfect little fills again. Okay, the first one is a double stop. He does quite a few double stops in this song, and double stops where you play 2 strings together, like the classic, like Money for Nothing sound. That's 2 strings being played at the same time. He does quite a few of those in this. So the first one, you have to have a 9 on the 2nd string and an 8 on the 3rd, and you notice I'm using 3rd and 4th fingers for that. So you hold that shape, you pick both strings. He probably does that with 1st and 2nd fingers, or it could be thumb and 1st. You just pick the 2 strings like this, and once you've done that, you pull off to the same shape 2 frets below. So that's what you use these other 2 fingers for. So what you probably need to do is put all 4 fingers on at the start like this. So you've got 9 and 8, and then 7 and 6, and then you pull those 2 away like this. And then move across to the 3rd and 4th strings, so flatten your 1st finger down over the 6th fret of both those strings. Doesn't matter if you touch other strings. And we just pick those middle 2 strings and hammer onto an 8 only on the 4th string. So the 3rd string remains a 6, but the 4th string changes to an 8 like this. Now it's a bit more subtle on the record than how I just did it. With the sound I've got there, it's a bit sort of full on. He's really playing very lightly on a lot of this. I think he's got quite a heavy sound. It's probably really loud in the studio, but he's just gently picking the strings some of the time. There's a lot of dynamics in this. Loads of dynamics. So I'll just put those 2 together. Then we've got another volume swell, similar to what we've done before. 2nd string 4th fret, bring the volume up, then hammer onto a 5, and then a separate note, another volume swell at the 7th fret on the same string, like this. And then next one's one of my favourite fills in the whole song, I think. We've just played the 7 on that 2nd string. The next phrase starts with that same note again, but it needs to be 2nd finger that's on that 7. So when you do the previous one like this, make sure you use 2nd finger for that 7. And then you keep that second finger there, add your first finger on the 6, still on the second string, pick the 7, pull off to the 6, play an 8 on the third string, then a 6 on the second string, and an 8 on the fourth, like this. And it's a little bit quicker than that. It's a lovely one, that. And then the next part, another volume swell, 4 on the third string, and then another volume swell, 6 on the third string. And then another really nice phrase, second string, 9 with your little finger. Could use third, but I'm using my little finger for this, I recommend that. Pull off to 7 on the same string, second finger. Pull off to 6, which is first finger. Hammer on to 7. So it's 9, 7, 6, 7, all with one pick. And then play an 8 on the third, like this. So it's like an answering phrase to the one we did a minute ago, which was... And this one is... That's just those two are an example of how brilliant Mark Knopfler is, just those two phrases. Okay, then the next one, we've got a very faint 6 on the third string. Need to come down to the third finger really for this. You can barely hear this note. And then you follow it with a 4 on the third string and hammer on to 6. Then a volume swell on the 4, this is all third string. And then slide to 3, so it's like this. And the next one is similar to one that we did earlier in the first verse, which it's almost exactly the same actually. The only difference to the last phrase of the first verse is, I don't know if you remember that one, but it was like this. This is the same, but you can't hear the 4 at the beginning, so it just comes in with a 6 here. Then these two strings pull off. And that. So it was a 6 on the fourth string, 5 and 4 on the third and second, or second and third strings, and then pull off the second string to the 4, 5 to 4, and then pick the 6 on the third string. And that's the one I was saying earlier, is from the E chord, the C-shape E chord. So I'll just play the whole of verse 2 in time but slower. Now we've got the next bridge stroke solo section, so it's another sort of short little interlude. Still in the same sort of position, still in this fourth position here. We play a 4 on the second string, 7 on the second string, bend it up to sound like a 9. And then second string, 7, 4, third string, 4, 3, fourth string, 6, 6. So I'll just put all that together. Up speed. And then the next one, he plays 3 on the third string. It's the first finger. It's a B flat note or A sharp note. Slide to the 4th fret. Then quickly slide from 4th to 6th and pick it again like this. back to 4, sorry, then 3 3, then go to the 4th string 6 6 like this. And then a 4 on the 3rd string, 4 on the 2nd string, 6 on the 3rd. Now you'll have heard those 3 notes quite a lot in this song. He uses that a lot. There's a lot of little motifs and things that he comes back to in this. And then there's another volume swell on the 4 on the 2nd string. And that's where the vocal sort of comes in to start the next verse. So I'll just put all of that together. As before, I'm just going to play it a little bit slower than the original song. Right, so then verse 3 starts with a power chord. It's an F sharp power chord. You can do this in different places. For example, here. To me, it sounds like he's here, just because you can kind of hear his hand slide down. You can't really slide very far if you're doing it here. So that's why I think it's probably here. So that's 9. You probably already know this, but 9 on the 5th string. 11 on the 4th string and then 11 on the 3rd string. You could use 2 fingers like that with this one flat, or what might be a bit cleaner is to use little finger on the 3rd string. So you just play those and slide down. And then we've got a phrase that sort of harks back a little bit to the intro. We slide into a 6 on the 5th string, then play a 6 on the 4th string, 3 on the 3rd string, slide to 4, 4 on the 2nd string, 6 on the 3rd string. I'll just pull that together. And the way he kind of plays it, that second note, that one, it's sort of stopped a little bit shorter than you might expect it to be, like this. So it's not. It does make a difference. And it just continues underneath the vocal, where he plays a 4 again on the 3rd string, hammer on to 6, play the 4 on the 2nd string and play a 7 on the 2nd string. And that really follows the vocal. So from the beginning it's and then the next phrase is a 3 on the 3rd string, 4 on the 3rd string, 3 on the 3rd string, so 4, 3, 4, 3, same string, 6 on the 4th string, and then a 4 on the 3rd string, which slides to a 6, like this. And this is a real sort of question and answer section where the vocal says something and the guitar says something in reply. And then the next one is 5 on the 2nd string, pull off to 4, 6 on the 3rd string, pull off to 4, and then play a 4 on the 2nd and a 6 on the 3rd, like this. So these are all reasonably easy, so I think you'll get these quite easily. It's just some of the stuff later on is a bit more complicated and a bit harder to work out. I think that's the trick with this song. It took me quite a while to listen to it and work out what I think he's playing, but most of it isn't that hard to actually play once you know what it is. So hopefully you'll get on okay with it. So that last one was. And there's a couple of really faint notes, a 4 on the 2nd string and a 5 on the 2nd string. And he does a kind of a noise where you hear the guitar, the sound of the strings. I'll just do it, that's the easiest way to show it, because it's one of those. So it's not an actual proper chord or proper notes or anything. It's just flattening your finger down lightly so it's muted, and then just as you strike the strings, just just hit all of them. Push on the strings a bit harder as you do that and slide down. It's just an effect. And then he plays an E power chord, which is open E, open 6th, and then cover these 2 strings, 5th and 4th, with the first finger flattened down. Just play those 3 strings like this. Okay, so I'll play all of verse 3 a bit slower. Now we're on to the third sort of lead bridge section. This one sounds to me a bit more like a solo. The first thing that gives it a bit more impact than the previous parts, because the whole song's kind of building. I think some things in the song are literally getting louder as it goes on, like some of the keyboards I think are getting louder, but the whole song feels like it's building. And one way he sort of accentuates that is for this solo. He's moved up to another position, so he's gone a bit higher up. So we start with an 11 on the 5th string, and then a 9 on the 4th, 8 on the 3rd, 11 on the 3rd, and after you've picked that one, you bend it up to sound like a 13, let it down, sound like an 11 again, and then play a 9. I'll just play all of that slowly. Up speed. And then we've got the 11 again on the 3rd string, play that again, bend up to 13, and then play an 11 on the 3rd string and an 8 on the 3rd string. And then 9 on the 4th, 8 on the 3rd, and then the bend on the 11 on the 3rd again. So that's that whole little phrase is straight into a 9 on the 2nd string, and you pick that, hammer onto an 11 and pull off to the 9. And then pick an 11 on the 3rd string and a 9 on the 3rd string. So that whole phrase. And then we've got a really nice little bit where he plays 3rd string 8. Use 3rd finger to hammer onto an 11, pull off to the 8, hammer onto the 11, pull off to the 8, hammer onto the 11 and bend up to 13. Not as difficult as that sounds, I'll just do it slowly. It's always one pick, just pick the first note. And then 3rd string 11, 8, both picked. 4th string 9, 8, 5th string 11. And then we play a 9 on the 5th string, hammer onto 11 and then play the 11 again. So that was... And then there's another volume swell like we did earlier. On the 3rd string 4, slide up to 6. And then there's kind of, if you want to be exact, there's a little sort of one of those little muted things, just a downstroke. And then 3rd finger on the 6 on the 3rd string, and it's a pre-bend. So you're bending the string up without picking it, and then you only pick it once it's there. If you've watched my other Knopfler videos, you'll probably be familiar with this, you might be anyway. So you only hear the sound of the note coming down like this. And once it's down, you pull off to a 4. It's quite fast. And then you play a 6 on the 4th string, 4 on the 3rd string, 4 on the 2nd string, 6 on the 3rd string. And then we've got a series of volume swells. Really nice this bit. Another nice bit. 2nd string 4, 3rd string 6, 3rd string 4, 3rd string 3, and technically that's the end of the little solo section, but it goes straight into a 4th string 6 volume swell, which is like a first beat of the next verse. So I'm going to include that now. I'll just demonstrate that. Okay, so that last one was part of the verse. So I'm just going to play the whole of that solo section a little bit slower than on the record, but I'll include that last note, which is kind of the first beat of the verse.